Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, but it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy.
Diddy and Justin's connection always raised eyebrows, but what's being said now takes it to another level. Word on the street is that during the FBI raid on Diddy's home, investigators uncovered disturbing and allegedly forbidden footage of Justin Bieber inside Diddy's private room. In this video, we're breaking down everything the FBI has reportedly uncovered and what it could mean for Diddy as the trial heats up. The early connection and troubling videos. This whole situation is messy, so let's run it back real quick. Let's start with how this Canadian kid who blew up on YouTube at just 14 ended up rolling with one of the biggest ballers in the game. The young Biebs got signed to Usher's label, RBMG Records, after being discovered by Scooter Braun back in '08. This connection is mad important because Usher himself was under Diddy's wing in the 90s, creating a direct pipeline between teenage Bieber and one of the most connected players in the music game. They first linked up around 2008 to 2009 when Bieber was only about 13 years old. By this time, Diddy was already a made man in the industry, known for putting on artists like Biggie and Mary J. Blige. The crazy age gap, Diddy pushing 40 while Bieber wasn't even old enough to drive, has everybody side-eyeing this relationship now. But back then, the industry painted this as some mentor-mentee goals. But yo, several videos documenting their early link-ups have resurfaced, and they got people raising all kinds of red flags. One of the most talked about clips is from 2009, titled Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy. Check what was said.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
The video continues with Diddy dropping this sus statement.
You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go buck full crazy.
This video, which Bieber himself uploaded to YouTube, shows Diddy claiming he got custody of the 15-year-old Bieber for 48 hours, comparing their situation to the one he had with Usher back in the day. The part that's got everybody looking sideways is when Diddy says they're going to go buck full crazy, but can't really disclose what they're doing, only describing it as a 15-year-old's dream. That's giving major creep vibes. This ain't the only sketch footage that's come back to haunt them. Another clip from December 2010 shows an interaction that's making viewers mad uncomfortable. In this video from Diddy's YouTube channel, he gives Bieber, who was 16 at the time, a Letterman jacket and gets on him about why they haven't been kicking it. Peep this exchange.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Check how Bieber responds.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
What's mad sus here is Bieber's nervous stuttering when Diddy puts him on blast about not hanging out anymore. This video was supposedly just promo for Diddy's album Last Train to Paris, but folks today are reading Bieber's body language and hesitation way different now that all this other stuff is coming to light. The most cringeworthy might be a clip from a 2011 appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where both of them were on the couch. During this interview, Diddy called Bieber his little brother and claimed the record industry has our arms around and we want to protect him. Catch this exchange.
You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around and we want to protect him.
During the same interview, Bieber joked about not getting a Lambo that Diddy promised him. Diddy's response is hitting different now.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
This warning about keeping quiet about the things he does with Big Brother Puff got everybody's spidey senses tingling. The low-key threatening tone of Diddy's statement, plus him referencing activities they did on the low, has got people questioning what kind of dirt Diddy didn't want Bieber spilling. Beyond these TV appearances, there's talk about Bieber showing up at Diddy's legendary parties. A 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians mentioned a naked party where half the people were butt naked, with Bieber reportedly in the building at around age 20. Other clips show them at clubs, sometimes with bottles popping, though nobody knows for sure how old Bieber was in these situations. What's wild about these videos is they've been in plain sight for years without anybody raising an eyebrow. As one YouTube commenter put it, the fact this is out in the open for 14 years and nobody questioned it until now is crazy. This speaks to how the industry normalizes these potentially predatory situations between big-time adults and young stars. Despite all this time Diddy spent with young Bieber and the major influence he seemed to have, they didn't actually drop any music together until 2023 when Bieber featured on Diddy's album. This was their first official collab, coming way later in their relationship. All this scrutiny around these videos ramped up after Diddy caught a case. In September 2024, he got arrested on some serious charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and sexual assault. These allegations, which we'll get into in the next part, got everybody looking back at his past relationships with young artists with new eyes. In recent interviews, Bieber has opened up about how tough it was being young in the industry. In a 2020 clip, he got emotional talking about his experience, saying, "It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn." He talked about wanting to protect others like Billie Eilish from similar situations, which some now think might be him low-key, referencing his own rough past. Allegations and disturbing patterns. September 2024 marked the beginning of Diddy's downfall when the feds came knocking and he got indicted on multiple charges in New York. The man is facing some heavy accusations: trafficking by force, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. But to really understand how deep this rabbit hole goes, we gotta rewind to November 2023. On November 16th, 2023, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girl, filed a lawsuit alleging mad violent abuse, sexual abuse, and forcing her to participate in what they called basically drug-fueled orgies, from 2007 to 2018. Though this lawsuit got settled within 24 hours for an undisclosed bag, it opened the floodgates for a whole tsunami of allegations that paint Diddy as an absolute monster over decades. The allegations against Diddy are no joke, straight up. As of April 2025, my man's facing at least 63 civil lawsuits about misconduct and with incidents stretching from 1990 all the way to 2023. These lawsuits include everything from sexual assault, drugging victims, sex trafficking, physical abuse, harassment, forced sexual acts, gang rape, sodomy, coercion, filming without consent, emotional distress, battery, false imprisonment, racketeering, distributing drugs and illegal firearms, soliciting minors and sex workers, emotional damage, and breach of contract. That's a whole RICO case worth of allegations. By October 2024, lawyers announced plans for 120 more lawsuits, including 25 involving minors, with the youngest alleged victim being 9 years old. That number is wild crazy, and spanning more than 3 decades suggests a pattern of behavior that many people now connecting to how he moved with young stars like Bieber. What's super relevant to our investigation is how the indictment claims Diddy was running a criminal enterprise centered around these freak-offs. These were supposedly events where women were forced into sexual acts through drugs, threats, and straight-up violence. The feds also mentioned other crimes like kidnapping, forced labor, bribery, and distributing drugs and illegal weapons. When the feds raided Diddy's cribs in March 2024, they found some seriously incriminating evidence. They seized narcotics including ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, 3 illegally modified AR-15s, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, allegedly for those freak-offs. That's not looking like innocent party supplies, fam. The most damning evidence dropped in May 2024 when CNN got their hands on CCTV footage from 2016 showing Diddy physically beating Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. This video was like the smoking gun that backed up at least some of Ventura's claims and made people start taking all these other allegations way more seriously. With all this heat surrounding Diddy, folks started looking back at his relationship with Bieber with major side-eye, wondering if the young star might have been caught up in similar exploitation or abuse. One particularly disturbing claim comes from singer Jaguar Wright, who spilled some serious tea about Diddy trying to get access to Bieber but initially getting blocked. Check what she said.
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that.
Wright keeps going with even more wild claims.
They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and just discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him.
She wraps up with this scathing take.
And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
While Usher's been denying these allegations and claimed his social media got hacked when similar accusations popped up there. Wright's claims line up with that infamous video where Diddy brags about having custody of Bieber for 48 hours. These allegations suggest that, similar to what's described in the federal indictment, Diddy might have been on some predatory vibes with Bieber rather than just being a mentor. Adding to the sketch factor is a video from 2021 showing adult Bieber being greeted by Diddy. In this clip, Diddy pats Bieber down in a way that some people are saying looks like he's checking for a wire. It's important to note that this video isn't from any FBI release like some fake news on social media claimed, but a lot of viewers still find the interaction mad sus, especially with all of Diddy's legal drama. Fan reactions to this video include comments like, it's hurtful to even look at it, and observations on body language like, the body language says it all. From smiling to a frown in 2 seconds. JB shakes his head no, I'm not wearing a wire. These takes might be reading into things, but they show how concerned people are about what might have gone down between them. Social media has been going crazy with theories about what might have happened between Diddy and young Bieber. Many users think Diddy's warning on Jimmy Kimmel not to talk about the things he does with Big Brother Puff was dropping hints about inappropriate or illegal activities, especially considering Bieber was just a teenager at the time. Some are connecting this to bigger conspiracy theories about child exploitation in Hollywood, though we gotta approach those kinds of claims with a grain of salt. Not everybody's buying the more extreme claims though. Some social media users are keeping it 100, calling for actual receipts before jumping to conclusions about involvement. As one ex-user put it, I refuse to believe Bieber and Diddy were involved until I see some evidence or an admission from Bieber, noting that sources like Jaguar Wright aren't always the most reliable. This represents the part of the audience that's trying to stay level-headed about these allegations. When you look at the bigger picture of young stars in the music industry, Bieber's situation fits a troubling pattern. A former Playboy model called out Bieber's parents for being MIA and not protecting him from figures like Diddy. This criticism points to a bigger issue where child stars don't get the protection they need and end up in adult environments without proper supervision. The allegations around Diddy and Bieber highlight a messed up reality in the entertainment industry, how the business normalizes potentially exploitative relationships between powerful adults and young stars. As noted in a Standard article, the entertainment industry used to let age-inappropriate behavior slide, but now people are seeing it for the problem it is, especially after documentaries like Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV exposed the abuse child stars face. Diddy's trial for these serious charges kicked off on May 5th, 2025, in federal district court in Lower Manhattan. As of May 12th, 2025, they're still picking the jury, with the final phase pushed back from May 9th to May 12th because of concerns about jurors dropping out. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to everything and turned down a plea. Deal on May 1st, 2025. He's locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, with bail denied multiple times despite offering a $50 million bond, because the court is worried he might intimidate witnesses. The trial is expected to run for several weeks, and if convicted, Diddy could face life in prison. This legal process might finally expose the full extent of his alleged criminal activities, including anything that might involve Bieber or other young stars he had access to. The serious nature of these allegations has had major consequences in the entertainment industry. Some radio stations, like Boston's Jammin' 94.5 and California's 93.5 K-Day, stopped playing Diddy's music. Macy's pulled his Sean John clothing line in November 2023. Diddy stepped down as chairman of Revolt TV that same month, and Hulu canceled a reality show that was supposed to feature him. His accolades are getting snatched back too. The Recording Academy re-evaluated his Grammy invitation. Howard University took back his honorary degree and returned his $1 million donation. New York City revoked his key to the city, and Miami-Dade canceled Diddy Day, all in 2024. The allegations against Diddy have also spawned several documentaries, including TMZ's Downfall of Diddy, Netflix's Diddy Do It, executive produced by 50 Cent with money going to victims, Peacock's Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, and Investigation Discovery's 5-part series, The Fall of Diddy. Bieber's response and industry implications. Despite all the internet chatter and speculation about his history with Diddy, Justin Bieber has been keeping it on mute. As of May 12, 2025, Bieber hasn't dropped any public statements directly addressing Diddy's arrest or those old clips of their interactions that resurfaced. This silence has only fueled the rumor mill, with everybody wondering why he hasn't spoken out about someone who was supposedly so important in his early career. But sources close to Bieber have been spilling some tea on how he's processing all this drama. According to insiders, Bieber has privately described his experience with Diddy as a nightmare and a private hell. If these reports are legit, they paint a pretty dark picture of what the young star might have gone through. An insider told In Touch Weekly that Bieber is completely disgusted by the allegations against Diddy and wants nothing to do with this, focusing instead on being a great dad and husband to his newborn son Jack, who came into the world in August 2024. Another source told Us Weekly that Bieber is in a hard place mentally because of the situation, suggesting that all these revelations about Diddy have him shook for real. While Bieber himself has been ghost, his wife Hailey might have thrown some subtle shade. After Diddy got arrested, Hailey Bieber posted a 2017 pic of Justin throwing up middle fingers, captioned "mood," which some people are reading as commentary on the situation. This cryptic post is being interpreted as her showing support for her man during this wild time, though like most of this story, it's all about reading between the lines. The speculation about Bieber's experiences got even more out of hand with the spread of fake content. In April 2024, an AI-generated track called "Lost Myself at a Diddy Party" went viral on TikTok, with lyrics suggesting Bieber had some traumatic experiences at Diddy's functions. We need to be crystal clear that this track was confirmed to be completely fake and doesn't represent anything Bieber actually said, showing how dangerous misinformation can be in sensitive cases like this. Some internet detectives think Bieber's social media moves might be dropping clues about his feelings. There are theories that Bieber unfollowing Usher on Instagram is connected to Usher's alleged role in hooking him up with Diddy, though these are just theories. Others have suggested this could be part of a marketing strategy for a potential 2025 music comeback, showing how hard it can be to separate actual signs of distress from regular celebrity behavior. The public's reaction to all this has been intense, to say the least. On X, fans have been expressing mad concern for Bieber's well-being during his teenage years, with comments like, "Hollywood did you so wrong. Keep your head up high. This darkness is coming to light." Another X post noted, "Didn't Usher bring Justin Bieber to the Diddy parties when he was a minor? If so, he has every reason to unfollow him," connecting to theories about Bieber's social media moves. This public concern is part of a bigger conversation about how vulnerable child stars are in the entertainment industry. Bieber himself spoke on this in a 2020 interview where he got emotional talking about the challenges of being young in the industry, saying, "It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn," and expressed wanting to protect others like Billie Eilish from similar experiences. Looking at the timeline of Bieber and Diddy's relationship helps put these concerns in perspective. They first linked up around 2008 to 2009 when Bieber was just 13 through their mutual connection with Usher. The infamous 48-hour video dropped in 2009 when Bieber was 15. In 2010, we saw the Letterman Jacket video where Diddy was pressing Bieber about why they weren't hanging anymore. And in 2011, they appeared on Jimmy Kimmel, where Diddy warned Bieber not to talk about the things he does with Big Brother Puff. By 2014, Bieber was attending functions where Diddy was present, including that naked party mentioned on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They didn't collab musically until 2023, and then in September 2024, Diddy got locked up on those serious charges we've discussed. April 2025 brought reports of Bieber describing his experience with Diddy as a nightmare, though without any official statement from Bieber himself. While we've mostly focused on Bieber's situation with Diddy, it's crucial to recognize that the allegations against Diddy go way beyond this one case. The sheer number of lawsuits, at least 63 civil cases with incidents spanning from 1990 to 2023, suggests a pattern of alleged misconduct running for decades. Some of the most serious accusations include claims from Liza Gardner of sexual assault in 1990, Joy Dickerson Neal, who alleged she was drugged and assaulted in 1991 with a video of the assault shared without her consent, and a Jane Doe, who accused Diddy, Harve Pierre, and another individual of gang raping her in 2003 when she was a teenager. There are also allegations involving a 13-year-old girl who was allegedly raped in 2000 and a 16-year-old babysitter who was allegedly assaulted in September 2000, showing a disturbing pattern that potentially includes multiple minors. The allegations against Diddy have sparked a wider conversation about how young stars get treated in the entertainment industry. Suge Knight, former CEO of Death Row Records, has publicly accused Diddy of exploiting young artists like Usher and Bieber, calling it the saddest thing. This accusation, coming from another controversial figure with his own legal issues, reflects a growing recognition of how vulnerable young artists can be. The scandal has also raised questions about who's responsible for letting this happen. Many have come for Bieber's parents for being absent and not protecting him from figures like Diddy, but the blame extends to record labels, managers, and other adults who should have been watching out for him. The fact that these concerning videos were in plain sight for years without raising alarms suggests a troubling normalization of potentially exploitative relationships. As noted in articles from Noir Mag and Vulture, while the clips have raised legitimate concerns, conspiracy theorists often twist facts and focus blame selectively, ignoring the bigger systemic issues in the entertainment industry. This case highlights the tricky balance between taking allegations of exploitation seriously and avoiding wild speculation. As one ex-user put it, "I refuse refuse to believe Bieber and Diddy were involved until I see some evidence or an admission from Bieber, showing how some folks are trying to keep it real while still acknowledging the seriousness of the situation. We gotta recognize that this situation isn't just about individual bad actors, but about a whole system that enables this type of behavior. The entertainment industry has a long history of protecting powerful figures at the expense of vulnerable young talent. When Bieber entered the game at just 13, he was thrown into an adult world with little protection. As he himself noted in that emotional 2020 interview, it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. The pattern of alleged misconduct by Diddy spans decades and allegedly involves dozens of victims, suggesting a level of enablement that goes beyond just one perpetrator. Federal raids on Diddy's properties uncovered significant evidence, including narcotics such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, 3 illegally modified AR-15 rifles, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. The question many are asking is, how was someone able to allegedly operate in this manner for so long without facing consequences? Social media has been both a blessing and a curse in this situation. On one hand, platforms like X, TikTok, and Instagram have allowed for increased scrutiny of past interactions and enabled victims to share their stories. On the other hand, these same platforms have facilitated the spread of unverified claims and conspiracy theories that can muddy the waters. After Diddy's arrest, X users began sharing the hashtag #SurvivingDiddy, inspired by the documentary series Surviving R. Kelly, which led to a similar reckoning in the music industry. This hashtag became a space for discussing allegations and expressing support for potential victims, showing how social media can drive accountability. The industry response to the allegations against Diddy has been significant, but arguably overdue. The Recording Academy reevaluated Diddy's Grammy invitation in December 2023, only after the allegations became public, raising questions about whether the industry was aware of rumors or allegations before they became widely reported. For Bieber, the fallout from this situation may have lasting implications. As a child star who transitioned to adult fame, he has faced numerous challenges, including mental health struggles, substance abuse issues, and public scrutiny of his behavior. In 2020, Bieber revealed he had been diagnosed with Lyme disease and chronic mono, which affected his skin, brain function, and overall health, adding another layer of complexity to his journey. Recent reports suggest that Bieber is focused on being a great dad and husband, prioritizing his family over engaging with the controversy surrounding Diddy. This approach may reflect a desire to move forward and heal from past experiences rather than revisiting potentially traumatic events. Some industry insiders think this could also be a strategic decision. A source told Us Weekly that Bieber has been advised to distance himself from Diddy, suggesting that his team is concerned about the potential impact on his image and career. In an industry where perception often drives opportunity, association with a controversial figure like Diddy could have significant professional consequences. The legal proceedings against Diddy will likely continue for months, if not years, and could potentially reveal more information about his interactions with Bieber and other young stars. The trial, United States v. Combs, which began on May 5th, 2025, is expected to last several weeks and will likely include testimony from multiple alleged victims. If Diddy is convicted, it could represent a significant moment of accountability in an industry often criticized for protecting powerful figures. A conviction could also potentially encourage other victims to come forward, not just in relation to Diddy, but across the entertainment industry. For the music industry as a whole, this scandal has highlighted the need for better protections for young artists. The fact that Bieber, at age 15, was allegedly given into Diddy's custody for 48 hours raises serious questions about oversight and child welfare in the entertainment industry. Future reform might include stricter regulations on working hours for minors, mandatory chaperones, and better reporting mechanisms for concerns. As we wrap up this investigation, it's important to emphasize that while the allegations against Diddy are serious and the videos of his interactions with Bieber are concerning, we must be careful not to jump to conclusions without definitive evidence. The legal process will ultimately determine Diddy's guilt or innocence in relation to the formal charges against him. However, regardless of the legal outcome, this case has already sparked an important conversation about power, vulnerability, and accountability in the entertainment industry. As Bieber himself noted when discussing the challenges faced by young star Billie Eilish, "I just want to protect her. I don't want her to go through anything I went through." This statement, which now appears potentially prophetic, suggests a recognition of systemic issues that extend beyond individual cases. For fans of both Bieber and Diddy, this situation represents a complex reckoning with the reality realities behind the music and personas they've admired. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about what we're willing to overlook in the name of entertainment and how our consumption choices may inadvertently enable harmful behavior. As this story continues to develop, we'll keep you updated with any new information that emerges. For now, we encourage you to approach this topic with both critical thinking and compassion. Critical thinking to evaluate claims based on evidence rather than speculation, and compassion for those who may have experienced exploitation or abuse. What if I told you that one of the biggest names in the entertainment industry, Diddy, is at the center of a shocking new revelation? Leaked interrogation footage from prison has surfaced, and it's sending shockwaves through Hollywood, the music world, and beyond. This footage might just rewrite the narrative of everything we've known about Diddy's legal battles and his public image. What really happened behind those closed doors, and how will this affect him and some other big names mentioned in the story? The leaked footage. Footage has emerged of Sean Diddy's public arrest at a 5-star New York hotel. The 54-year-old rapper, who is currently behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after his bail was refused for a second time on Thursday, was charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution last Monday. CCTV video captured the moment Diddy was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in the heart of Manhattan. This footage, captured by Homeland Security investigations, reveals the precise moment when federal agents approached and separated him from his entourage. Diddy is seen entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan when agents swiftly place him under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs. His lawyer later stated that Diddy had come to New York 2 weeks earlier with the intention of turning himself in, not expecting the agents to be waiting at his hotel. The federal agents calmly make their approach as the music mogul enters the building, one of them holding paperwork and the other what appears to be a set of handcuffs. At one point, both agents can be seen placing their arms on Diddy's back. Diddy, who isn't cuffed during the encounter, complies without a fuss, following the agents through the lobby and into the hotel as Diddy's team appears confused and stands idle at the hotel entrance. The footage shows Diddy being escorted out of the hotel, his hands restrained as he is led to a waiting police vehicle. A day earlier, Diddy was seen out and about in New York with his family, seemingly in good spirits. However, the arrest footage paints a different picture, highlighting the gravity of the charges he faced. Diddy pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The center of the case included a 2016 video obtained by CNN that depicted Diddy attacking his then-girlfriend, the singer Cassie, and dragging her back toward a hotel room. Diddy is being held at Brooklyn's notorious federal lockup, Metropolitan Detention Center, which has been described as a hellhole as he awaits trial. The NYC facility, where Ghislaine Maxwell was famously detained, has seen a surge in tragedies over the years, with several judges refusing to send people there. It's a notorious prison that reports say has been plagued by outbreaks of violence, unsanitary conditions, and understaffing. Reports say that Diddy is being kept away from other prisoners for now. We don't yet know when Diddy's trial will be, but we can safely assume he'll be in a hurry to get out of that place. And from what we know about it, there's a chance he doesn't even survive until the trial. If that sounds far-fetched, just remember what happened to Epstein, another accused sex trafficker who was miraculously killed in his cell before he made it to trial. What's more is that the Metropolitan Detention Center has a history of deadly stabbings and barbaric living conditions, and people have also said there are maggots in his food. Since his sex trafficking arrest, Diddy was placed on a suicide watch. In the motion for bail, his lawyers argued that the MDC was unfit for pre-trial detention due to unruly conditions. Just earlier this summer, an inmate was murdered. At least 4 inmates have died by suicide there in the past 3 years, Diddy lawyers said. MDC, which holds about 1,600 inmates, has been plagued by problems since it opened in the 1990s. It is plagued with rat infestations and violent outbreaks. Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's aide, famously complained about the disgusting living conditions at the MDC. She bemoaned about sleep deprivation, rodents, and sewage stench in her cell. In addition to Maxwell, other high-profile inmates at the Brooklyn Lock, which has been described as hell on earth, included R. Kelly and Sam Bankman-Fried. The culmination of these legal battles came on September 16, 2024, when Diddy was arrested in a Manhattan hotel room after a grand jury indictment. His lawyer stated that Diddy had cooperated with authorities and voluntarily relocated to New York in anticipation of the charges. His lawyer claimed to have taken away Diddy's passport months ago and even tried to highlight some of his charity work, but none of that was able to sway the decision. Despite his legal team's efforts to secure bail, Diddy was denied release. The court cited his history of substance abuse, anger issues, and the risk of him threatening or harming witnesses as reasons for keeping him detained until the trial. During the bail hearing, prosecutor Emily Johnson argued that Diddy posed a significant risk to the trial. She cited text messages from women who said Diddy forced them into freak-offs and then threatened to leak videos videos of them engaging in sex acts. Johnson emphasized Diddy's long history of intimidating both accusers and witnesses, painting a picture of a man who would stop at nothing to protect himself. One particularly disturbing text message from a woman who said Diddy dragged her down a hallway by her hair read, "I'm not a rag doll, I'm someone's child." Johnson argued that this message, along with others, demonstrated a long-standing pattern of abuse and coercion. Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr., who presided over the bail hearing, was unmoved by the defense's arguments. He cited Diddy's history of substance abuse and anger issues as reasons for denying bail, stating, "My concern is that this is a crime that happens behind closed doors." The judge agreed with prosecutors that no condition or set of conditions could guard against the risk of Diddy threatening or harming witnesses. Diddy's defense team, led by lawyer Mark Agnifilo, argued that the charges were an outgrowth of a long-term, troubled, but consensual relationship with Cassie Ventura. Agnifilo contended that the freak-offs were an expansion of that relationship and not coercive. The defense proposed a $50 million bail offer, GPS monitoring, and strict limitations on visitors, suggesting that Diddy could await trial in the luxury of his Florida mansion. They even offered to place him under the watch of a round-the-clock private security team. However, Judge Carter questioned the plan as an allegedly foolproof system, expressing concerns that Diddy could still use employees to contact witnesses. With the judge's decision to deny bail, Diddy was remanded to Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where he will remain until his trial. Upon arrival at MDC Brooklyn, Diddy was processed and placed in the Special Housing Unit, SU, due to his high-profile status and the nature of his charges. The SU, a form of solitary confinement, meant that Diddy would be isolated from the general inmate population. This was a stark contrast to the life he was accustomed to, where he was constantly surrounded by an entourage and adoring fans. Diddy's first night in prison was undoubtedly a shock to his system. The stark, sterile environment of his cell was a far cry from the opulence he once enjoyed. The reality of his situation began to sink in as he lay on the hard, uncomfortable bed, staring at the cold, concrete walls. The New York Post obtained MDC Brooklyn's food menu and revealed the details of Diddy's first meal behind bars. For dinner, he was served Swedish meatballs, a far cry from the gourmet dishes he was used to. If he wanted a healthier option, he could have chosen a black bean burger. The sides included egg noodles, green beans, a garden salad with dressing, and a 16-ounce beverage. It was a simple, well-balanced meal, but for someone like Diddy, it must have felt like a world away from his usual dining experiences. The meals in prison are designed to meet nutritional standards, but they are a far cry from the lavish feasts Diddy once enjoyed. Breakfast typically includes items like oatmeal, toast, and fruit. Lunch might consist of a sandwich, soup, and a piece of fruit. Dinner, as we saw with Diddy's first meal, can vary, but usually includes protein, starch, vegetables, and a beverage. These meals are delivered to his cell by correctional officers, as he is not allowed to dine with other inmates due to his solitary confinement status. Life in the Special Housing Unit, SHU, is a far cry from the luxury and freedom Sean Diddy once enjoyed. The SHU, often referred to as solitary confinement, is designed to isolate inmates from the general population, and for Diddy, this meant a drastic change in his daily routine and lifestyle. Diddy's day begins early, with the harsh sound of the cell door opening for a brief head count. The cell, a small, stark room with a bed, a toilet, and a sink, offers little comfort. The walls are bare, and the only light comes from a small window high up on the wall. The isolation is palpable, and the silence is often broken only by the distant sounds of other inmates or the clanging of metal doors. One of the most significant aspects of Diddy's new routine is the limited recreation time. In the SU, inmates are allowed just 1 hour of recreation per day. This hour is a brief respite from the confines of the cell, offering a chance to stretch, exercise, or simply get some fresh air. However, even this time is spent in a small enclosed yard, often alone or with minimal interaction with other inmates. For someone like Diddy, who was used to constant social interaction and a busy lifestyle, this isolation can be particularly challenging. Shower privileges are also limited in the SHU. Inmates are allowed 3 showers a week, a stark contrast to the daily grooming routines Diddy once enjoyed. The showers are brief and monitored, offering little privacy. This limited access to basic hygiene can be a constant reminder of the loss of personal freedom and dignity. What are the full details of why Diddy is currently in prison? Accusations and investigations against Diddy. The first cracks in Diddy's seemingly unshakable empire began to appear in November 2023. Cassie Ventura, a singer and model who had been in an on and off relationship with Diddy from 2007 to 2018, filed a civil lawsuit that sent shockwaves through the industry. Cassie, who was signed to Diddy's record label, accused him of using his position of power to manipulate and coerce her into a violent and abusive relationship. Cassie's lawsuit included graphic descriptions of violent abuse, alleging that Diddy regularly beat and kicked her, leaving her with black black eyes, bruises, and blood. She also described parties known as freak-offs, drug-fueled, days-long sexual performances that Diddy allegedly coerced women into and filmed for his own pleasure. Cassie claimed that many of these incidents were witnessed by Diddy's loyal network, who did nothing to stop the violence. In a shocking twist, the lawsuit also alleged that Diddy destroyed a car belonging to rapper Kid Cudi to dissuade him from dating Cassie. The allegations painted a disturbing picture of a man who would go to any lengths to maintain control over those around him. The lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount just a day after it was filed, with Diddy maintaining his innocence. However, the floodgates had opened. In the weeks that followed, multiple women came forward with their own allegations of assault dating back to 1991. One lawsuit was filed anonymously by a woman who claimed Diddy and another man had coerced her into sex. Another, filed by Joy Dickerson Neal, accused Diddy of drugging and sexually assaulting her when she was a college student in 1991, and claimed he filmed the attack and showed it to others, without her consent. A third woman, Liza Gardner, filed court papers accusing Diddy and another man of her and her friend more than 30 years ago when she was just 16. Gardner also alleged that Diddy turned violent days after the attack, choking her so hard that she passed out. She claimed that Diddy became irate while trying to track down her friend, worried that she would inform the girl he was with at the time. These lawsuits came shortly before the expiration of the New York Adult Survivors Act, which temporarily allowed people who said they had been sexually abused to file claims, even after the statute of limitations had expired. Diddy denied all the allegations, with his spokesperson calling the lawsuits a money grab. In December 2023, another woman, known only as Jane Doe, sued Diddy, claiming she was sex trafficked and gang raped by him, former Bad Boy Records president Harve Pierre, and another man in 2003 when she was 17. She alleged that she was given copious amounts of drugs and alcohol before the attack, and was left in so much pain that she could barely stand or remember how she got home. As the allegations continued to pile up, Diddy took to Instagram on December 6, 2023, to vehemently deny the accusations. "Enough is enough," he wrote. "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Despite his denials, the allegations against Diddy continued to grow, painting a picture of a man who allegedly used his power and influence to exploit and abuse women for decades. The initial lawsuit filed by Cassie Ventura had opened the floodgates, leading to a cascade of accusations that would ultimately bring Diddy's empire crashing down. The next huge accusation levied against Diddy was by Lil Rod Jones, a producer who was supposed to work with Diddy on Diddy's album. But let's just say Diddy wanted more than just Lil Rod's music production skills. In September 2022, Lil Rod's path crossed with Diddy at a writing camp at Chalice Recording Studio in Los Angeles. Invited by a friend close to Diddy's A&R at Love Records, Lil Rod arrived to find the parking lot transformed into a club-like atmosphere, complete with free drinks, IV drips, massage therapists, and basketball courts. Despite the chaotic scene, Lil Rod decided to stay in network, a decision that would change his life forever. As Lil Rod's involvement grew, so did his responsibilities. He was no longer just another musician in the room. He became Diddy's go-to guy. Whether it was adding extra parts to a track or translating Diddy's vague instructions into musical reality, Lil Rod was indispensable. His ability to understand and anticipate Diddy's needs made him a key player in the album's production. Around Thanksgiving 2022, Lil Rod and DeForest Taylor, Diddy's A&R executive, were flown to Miami. What should have been a festive occasion quickly turned uncomfortable. Invited to a family dinner, Lil Rod was summoned to a bathroom where Diddy pressured him to use drugs. This was just the beginning of a series of disturbing events that would escalate over the following months. In February 2024, Lil Rod filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, detailing allegations of assault, trafficking, and racketeering. He claimed that Diddy groped him, secretly drugged him, and forced him to solicit and participate in sexual activities with sex workers. An even more jarring accusation levied by Lil Rod against Diddy was that at the music camp hosted by Diddy, there were a few key individuals present. Diddy himself, his son Justin Diddy, and a friend of Justin's named GG is a 30-year-old tall African-American man. Several other musicians were also in attendance at the camp, some of whom have since spoken out about the events that took place. One evening, Diddy, Justin, and G were involved in a heated conversation. The argument moved from the studio into a restroom nearby, where a man named Mr. Jones was sitting just 2 feet away. Suddenly, Mr. Jones heard multiple gunshots coming from the bathroom. He immediately went into shock, fearing that he might be shot next, given how close he was to the gunfire. When the shooting stopped, a crowd gathered around the restroom. Eventually, the door opened, and both Diddy and Justin exited, leaving G inside. G was found lying on the bathroom floor in a fetal position, bleeding heavily from his leg and hip. Despite the crowd's inaction, Mr. Jones ran to G Diddy, applying pressure to his stomach in an attempt to stop the bleeding. Upon closer inspection, Mr. Jones noticed that G was also gushing blood from a wound near his leg and hip. He then lifted G and helped him sit on the toilet, urging those around him to call for an ambulance. Eventually, Mr. Jones helped carry G to the ambulance waiting at the front of the studio. During this time, Diddy and Justin had disappeared to another part of the building. Before leaving, Diddy gave strict instructions telling people to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the authorities, claiming that G was shot outside the studio in a drive-by shooting. During his time living with Diddy, Mr. Jones alleges that he was repeatedly subjected to unsolicited and unauthorized groping of his by Diddy. These incidents took place in various locations, including Los Angeles, New York, Florida, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. In addition to this, Diddy allegedly forced Mr. Jones to work in his bathroom, while Diddy walked around naked and showered in a glass enclosure. As a heterosexual Christian man, Mr. Jones felt uncomfortable with these advances and expressed his concerns to Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, known as KK. KK downplayed Mr. Jones's complaints, dismissing Diddy's behavior as Sean being Sean. She further trivialized the groping, calling it friendly horseplay and suggesting it was Diddy's way of showing he liked Mr. Jones. There were many other accusations in the lawsuit by Lil Rod against Diddy. Now, it has been alleged that Diddy never acted alone in the criminal activities that he is accused of. It is said that there are other high-profile celebrities who were partners with Diddy. Others allegedly involved in Diddy's case. The early years of Diddy's parties were nothing short of legendary. As the 90s rolled in, Sean Diddy Combs, then known as Puff Daddy, was making waves in the music industry. His rise to fame was meteoric, and with it came a lifestyle that was the envy of many. Diddy's parties quickly became the stuff of legend, attracting a who's who of celebrities from various fields. This party set the tone for what would become a series of unforgettable events that defined an era. Among the regular attendees in these early years was the one and only Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo, as she is affectionately known, was just beginning her ascent to superstardom. Her relationship with Diddy was highly publicized, and the two were often seen together at various high-profile events. Another frequent guest was the late, great Aaliyah. Known for her angelic voice and captivating performances, Aaliyah was a beloved figure in the music industry. Her presence at Diddy's parties added a touch of grace and elegance to the otherwise wild and hedonistic atmosphere. Aaliyah's untimely death in a plane crash in August 2001 left a void in the industry, but her legacy continues to live on. Jay-Z, another titan of the music industry, was also a regular at Diddy's early parties. The two shared a close friendship and mutual respect, often collaborating on various projects. Jay-Z's presence at these gatherings added a layer of credibility and star power, further cementing Diddy's status as a kingmaker in the industry. The bond between Jay-Z and Diddy was evident, and their camaraderie was a highlight of many of these events. The parties were not just limited to musicians. Hollywood's elite also flocked to Diddy's gatherings. Leonardo DiCaprio, known for his roles in blockbuster films and his penchant for partying, was often spotted at these events. His presence added a touch of Hollywood glamour and drew even more attention to the already star-studded guest list. Supermodels like Naomi Campbell and Kate Moss were also regulars at Diddy's early parties. Their striking looks and high fashion sense added an element of sophistication and style. The sight of these supermodels mingling with musicians and actors created a unique and unforgettable atmosphere that was the hallmark of Diddy's parties. The early years of Diddy's parties were also marked by the presence of influential figures from the business world. Russell Simmons, the co-founder of Def Jam Recordings, was a frequent guest. His presence underscored the close ties between the music industry and the business world, highlighting the symbiotic relationship that fueled the success of many artists. Record executives like Clive Davis and L.A. Reid were also regular attendees. Their presence was a testament to Diddy's influence and the respect he commanded within the industry. These parties were not just about having a good time. They were also a platform for networking and forging alliances that would shape the future of the music industry. As the 90s progressed, Diddy's parties became even more extravagant. The guest list grew longer and the events became more elaborate. The White Party evolved into a must-attend event, drawing celebrities from all over the world. The allure of these gatherings was undeniable, and the stories that emerged from them only added to their mystique. One such story involves the legendary party held at Diddy's mansion in East Hampton. This event, which took place on July 2nd, 2000, was attended by a veritable who's who of the entertainment industry. The now infamous photo of Diddy lying in bed with Jennifer Lopez, Aaliyah, and others was taken at this party. The image, which recently resurfaced online, has sparked a wave of reactions and raised important questions about the implications for those who attended these gatherings. Diddy's arrest not only impacted impacts him, but as you know, he's a massive figure in the music scene, and his record labels are connected with many of the world's biggest artists and have been for years. Diddy's past relationship with Universal Music Group mainly involved him assaulting their exec, but since then, he has been closely tied to their CEO, Lucian Grange. Grange has been labeled as a defendant in the Lil Rod lawsuits and is a huge name in the music industry. Some of the world's biggest superstars are signed to Universal Music Group, which include Drake, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, and Adele. You might think it's not that surprising that two big-name record label owners would know each other, but the lawsuit claims that their relationship is much more than that of business associates. The indictment claims that Mr. Jones, also known as Lil Rod, witnessed Lucian Grange visiting Diddy's home in LA as well as Miami. According to Jones, whenever he visited, it would be in the evening, and the two would disappear for hours inside Diddy's bedroom. What's more is that it claims that Grange sponsored several Love album listening parties at Diddy's home in LA. These parties allegedly had minors and sex workers in them, and the suit claims that Lucian Grange would have been well aware that drinks were being laced and drugs distributed. It's been known since February that Grange and Universal Records are implicated in Diddy's crimes, but his recent arrest has got even more executives worried. According to Daily Mail, an insider told them that high-profile industry executives have started to create contingency plans. The source said there are at least 5 execs who have been advised to explore their options, as they will not be protected by the shareholders if any allegations emerge. It goes on to say that record labels are petrified and that they're encouraging potentially troubling executives to clean up their acts. It's not only record labels that should be worried, though. As the lawsuits keep coming and new information comes out, more and more artists' names are being mentioned, as well as Meek Mill being hinted at in one of the lawsuits. We've also seen Usher, as well as Chris Brown's names dragged into it. The lawsuit mentions a well-known music producer called Stevie J having sex with multiple males on different occasions. It lists one of them as a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, and the other as an R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl. Many believe the two redacted names are Meek Mill and Usher. Elsewhere in the document, it labels someone as a Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Bajan billionaire. People think that's likely Chris Brown. Usher was one of many who grew up around Diddy and was taken under his wing when he was just 13. He lived with Diddy for a year, and in an interview, he had this to say about the experience. "I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle, and I saw it. I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at." Usher is not the only person who was allegedly groomed by Diddy. Many think Justin Bieber also was. Justin met Diddy when he was just 15 years old, and the two spent a lot of time together. At the end of his trials, Diddy may be gone for a long time. Over the years, rumors and speculations have circulated, suggesting that Meek Mill is afraid to bite the hand that feeds him, the hand of the influential mogul, Diddy. The picture of friendship and love both artists have painted over the years has a darker story behind it. In this video, we delve into the reasons behind Meek Mill's apprehension.
I mean, how do you guys feel about the situation?
We will also talk about the alleged Diddy-Mill relationship scandal that got Meek Mill ranting about his sexuality on X. If they have a relationship, was it consensual, or did Meek Mill follow Diddy out of fear? Meek Mill hides from Diddy's wrath. Over the last few weeks, Meek Mill has been making headlines on social media because he is rumored to be in a homosexual relationship with Diddy. If he slips up and accidentally admits to the relationship, he might face Diddy's wrath. There have indeed been whispers of a relationship between Diddy and Combs in the past, but there was never any concrete evidence to support it. However, one of Diddy's former employees released an audio sex tape he claimed belonged to Diddy and Meek Mill. According to him, both artists were alone in the room when he started hearing moaning and groaning.
All that daddy this and daddy that, and then I heard some hollering and struggling like, yeah.
Several sources and whispers within the industry have fueled speculation about the leaked audio, but it's important to note that neither Meek Mill nor Diddy has confirmed the truth of these rumors, but it may explain some of the fruity things Meek Mill has said and done over the years.
They have a celly. Nah, you got a celly for 3 months. Pack it up, go to new jail. You're gonna feel like you just lost a chick.
The lack of confirmation has not stopped the rumor mill from turning, with discussions about the nature of their relationship becoming a topic of intrigue for fans and observers. The implications of such rumors are significant, as they can impact the reputations and careers of both Meek Mill and Diddy. Unverified claims can lead to unwarranted scrutiny in an industry where image and public perception can be closely tied to an artist's success. They could potentially alter the way their peers and the public view view them. For Meek Mill, who has often presented himself as a staunchly heterosexual figure in his music and public persona, these rumors challenge the identity he has crafted for himself. Similarly, for Diddy, who has also maintained a public image aligned with traditional masculinity, the rumors could challenge the brand he has built over the years. The narrative surrounding Meek Mill and Diddy took a dramatic turn with the emergence of a lawsuit filed by a music producer known as Lil Rod. This legal action has added a layer of complexity to the already intricate story, as it implicates Meek Mill as one of Diddy's lovers. While the name of the artist was redacted, it implied that Diddy had been sexually involved with a rapper from Philly. Since Meek Mill is the only rapper from Philly who has been unusually close to Diddy for years, the public put two and two together. Also, Diddy's former bodyguard confirmed that the redacted name was Meek Mill.
Everybody kind of knew back in the day that Meek Mills and Puff was a little too friendly.
The lawsuit itself centers around allegations separate from their rumored relationship, but its existence has contributed to the swirl of speculation regarding the nature of their connection. Lil Rod has made serious accusations against Diddy, including claims of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. It's important to note, however, that allegations are not the same as convictions, and the legal process must take its course to determine the veracity of these claims. If the claims are true, Meek Mill may also become a subject of interest in the case, ruining his already delicate career. Watch the next video for more interesting content.